Hey guys, what's up? I'm here today with a quick little, overlook slash review of a game that I've loved since I was old enough to play it. And I want to kind of explain some of the differences between versions here because they're not too well explained or well known between even the people who play it don't really know the differences between the game. There's actually different versions, and if you're looking up here, then I'm sure you know what game it is, and that is the original Resident Evil. Now, I have all three versions on the PlayStation. There are obviously more, but I'm going to cover the PlayStation versions, and I'll mention, a little other stuff from the other versions, but let's get started. So, let's get started with my personal, favorite and obviously the most difficult of the three, and that is the long box. Resident Evil long box. Just plain old Resident Evil. This one came out in '96. It was the first release, the very first bare bones release, I guess you could call it, of Resident Evil. Now, it featured some things that the Japanese version, didn't have. This is what it looks like inside. You got your booklet and your disc. And if you take your booklet out, you even have some cool artwork. So, I really like the long box just for the artwork alone, because the jewel case version of this doesn't have that artwork. So it's just an added touch that you really don't see in games today. Just a nice, very well made case. Okay, so back to the game. The Japanese version of this game was quite a bit different. It was actually a lot easier, considerably easier. The original Biohazard I'm talking about, obviously. In the American, and I believe the European releases as well, they changed the title to Resident Evil for numerous reasons. I believe one, because there was some sort of band called Biohazard, if I recall. But Resident Evil, they upped the difficulty, not considerably, not like, through the roof, but it is quite a bit harder than its Japanese counterpart. And they removed the auto-aim, so the auto-aim is completely gone. So now you have to manually aim. In the Japanese version, there was a lock-on auto-aim kind of system. This also has less ammo and saving items than the Japanese version of the game. Excuse me, guys. There's not a whole lot to say that hasn't been said about this game already. This is definitely a harder version of the Japanese counterpart in every way. Like I said, there's no auto-aim, there's less ammo, there's less ink ribbons, they're your saving items. And I think that's really just about it that they changed, besides the name. It's an awesome game. If you haven't played it, then where have you been in the past, 15 years? This game is, still talked about pretty much every day, at least by a few people. Every gamer knows this game. Back when Capcom actually had a good thing going for them. Rest in peace, Capcom. Yeah, they're still around, but not in my mind, they're not. But, yeah, this is where it all started with Resident Evil, the very first long box version of the game. And this is one that every Resident Evil, fan, enthusiast, or, just somebody who wants to be introduced to the series should have. You should pick up the long box, because this is where it all began. This is definitely the best version, in my opinion, even though it's the hardest. Pick this one up if you can. It's a little bit more expensive. You might have, if you get the jewel case version, it's the same exact thing. It's just in a jewel case instead, so you're missing out on the artwork and whatever. But again, it's not a huge deal. I just think it's really nice. I guess this would be the collector's edition version, like they have the games today. Whatever. Anyway, here's the long box, which all started, and now we're going to get on to the first variation of the first game. So let's get there. Alright, so this is Resident Evil Director's Cut. This is the very first version of Director's Cut. There's actually two versions, and we'll get to the second one in a minute. But this one is not too much different from the original game, except there's a couple new difficulty modes. There's obviously the difficulty is a lot easier, even on the standard mode. They actually have three different difficulties in this game. There is standard, there's training, and there's advanced. Now the standard mode is just like the original game. It's considered, I guess, normal. Normal would be the difficulty. Uh, Again, it's not too very changed. Not too very, but it's not even English. It's not too changed from the original long box or jewel case version of Resident Evil. But there is definitely more ammo that's laying around. There's more saving ink ribbons. There's more of those in the game. And also the enemies, I didn't mention this in the first game, but the hunter enemies, they actually take more damage in the long box and jewel case original version. In this director's cut and any director's cut, both versions, the hunters will only take, for example, one magnum shot to kill. But in the original long box, they take two, so they're a lot tougher, and considering there's less ammo, that could be a problem in the long run. But the hunters are weaker in this version. There's more ammo laying around, there's more save items, and really there's auto-aim if you can find it. It's in here, but it's kind of hidden. So, I guess they were still kind of going for the whole, manual aim. But there is auto-aim in this version if you can find it. It's just kind of hidden. Now, also with this version of the director's cut, it came with a demo of Resident Evil 2. Now, it's kind of cool to play the demo version because you can see what they changed around from, I guess this would be a beta stage, perhaps? Maybe just a little bit past beta. Because this came out in '97, so, I guess it'd be just around a late beta. But anyway, it came with a demo disc of Resident Evil 2. And, like I said, wow, it says there's new camera angles and character graphics. I never really noticed much of a difference in that. Must not be that crazy new, I guess. But, yeah, there's training. Like I said, there's standard difficulty, there's training, and there's advanced difficulties. And the training is basically an easy mode. You get double ammo, enemies take less shots. It's basically your easy mode. There's really not a reason to play that because it's too easy. Believe me, if you've played it, then it's just too easy. Even if you're first time playing, it's just like, wow, that's nothing. And advanced mode, I believe, is what they would later call shuffle mode. All the items are just rearranged. And I think there's different enemy placement, but it's not any harder than standard. Things are just in different places. So that's really original director's cut. It came in a dual box because there's obviously two discs, and the inside looks like that. The manual is kind of a close up on the picture of the long box. As you can see, the same guys on the long box, but. Yeah, the director's cut it's pretty cool. Now, if you're more, a beginner player, I guess would be the way to put it, then this might be one you want to check out because it does have the training mode. But you really don't need training mode. It's a fun game anyway. Even on standard, it's not too hard. It's not unbearably hard. And like I said, there is auto aim, so little fun fact for you. And the letters on the side of the box are actually in orange. It's kind of hard to see, but that's the only difference that I've seen from both director's cuts as far as, the side labels here. So, besides the double box and the orange lettering and obviously the title art, let's go on to the next director's cut, which is the greatest hits version. Alright, here's our third and final variation on PlayStation. This is the greatest hits version of the director's cut. Now, just because it says greatest hits does not mean it is the same exact game. Now, just looking at the covers itself, you can tell that they're very different cover arts. I don't know why they changed the cover art. I guess they thought the old one was stupid or whatever. Personally, I like the other one better. This one's nice, but I like the other one better because it kind of has that cheesy B-movie feel that Resident Evil kind of really is. But this one, it's more of the same, really, from the other director's cut, except there's new music. That's the biggest difference, I would say. New music. The auto aim is pretty much, not really hidden anymore. It's kind of, I think it's automatic in this version, actually. As soon as you aim, you go whoop, right over to the enemy. So, also there's, white lettering. So, again, not a really huge difference, just a difference. Oh, and this one also, as it says right here, it supports the DualShock controllers. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I never use DualShock, or dual analog, or any form of analog when I'm playing Resident Evil games, because I can't imagine how that would control. You know, we have the tank controls and analog. I can't really see it happening too well. But it does support it, so I guess that's nice for some people who do use it. The disc looks slightly different. Instead of the letters in red, it's, you know, silver. Most greatest hits games didn't look quite as flashy as their black label counterpart, and this is a great example. But like I said, even though it says greatest hits, it's not the same game. It's quite the same, but the different music and the auto aim being, you know, much easier to access. And, you know, DualShock, so that's quite a bit different. Just like Jet Moto 2, how, you know, the original and the greatest hits versions are very different games. This one is not quite as different as Jet Moto 2 was from the greatest hits version, but it is different, definitely different. And it's a great game. All three of these games, real great. Oh, this one also has a vibration function, so it vibrates too. I guess that's a cool added effect. I'd say it's a pretty cool effect from the original one that didn't have vibration, but I don't really need vibration when I play a game like this. This is one of those games you sit in the back when survival horror was in, you know, its prime. Everybody wanted to be just like Resident Evil and throw out a great game, and then came Silent Hill and it was an awesome game, so I guess vibration was pretty cool. I don't know. But the main difference, like I said, is the music. The music is totally redone in this version, and personally I like the original better. This is the music that tended to stick with the series. This is the one that most people have played, the greatest hits version of the director's cut, so you might actually not know the music was different unless you're, like, you know, a pretty big fan of the original game. But with that, I guess I can wrap it up with that. So there's our greatest hits. Here is our original director's cut. Just a quick view before I end it. And last but not least is the original long box. This is the one I recommend you guys to get, even though it's definitely probably the hardest to find. Still a cool game. You know, whatever version you guys can get, if you don't already have it, then do yourself a favor and get it. Because Resident Evil, the very first game, is a classic in the survival horror, and while not the first game in the genre, it was, you know, a great staple, and it pretty much coined the term survival horror. And the genre now is kind of dead, but hopefully it'll come back with a new Resident Evil game that's coming out for 3DS. Not really kind of crossing my fingers, but I'm not expecting much from Capcom, because if you've seen anything of what they've done lately, then you're not really seeing too much potential in them anymore. It's a shame. They went from the gods to dumpster divers. Down on my level. Dumpster diver. But guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I wish I could, you know, explain more. But there's a lot of information available in Resident Evil out there, so really, if you have any questions, you can ask me. Or you can look at any official wiki site on the Resident Evil games, and I'm sure they'll tell you plenty too. So thanks guys for watching, and I'll have another video up soon. I'm working on a cover, and let's see how that goes. So thanks for watching guys, and I'll talk to you guys soon.